Hey, how's it going? So, have you ever been in a situation where you were abused? This could be emotionally, verbally, physically, sexually, um, spiritually, financially, narcissistically. Yeah, any of those? Um, Maybe you didn't know if you were, maybe you remember being that way, or maybe you're still in one. And it's really hard to tell. Sometimes it's really hard to tell that we're being emotionally abused, especially because it's very covert. It's hidden. It's very normalized in our society, in fact, to be emotionally abused by our bosses, by our friends, by our families, by our, you know, just the world at large. We live with institutions that thrive basically on emotional abuse, manipulation, control, and it's hard for us to tell when we're being treated that way. But the thing you can notice in your relationships, especially if you're in a close, intimate relationship with someone, is that you will feel confused. You'll feel like you don't know if you started the fight, if it's your fault it's the fight, or if it ever gets resolved. It doesn't get resolved usually. And you leave with a little bit of yourself gone. And that is very, very dangerous. That's probably the most dangerous part of an emotionally abusive relationship is losing yourself. You know, when you're in a physically abusive relationship, you can be physically hurt, right? You can have broken bones, you can have burns, you can get killed. So it's pretty obvious, but that doesn't make it easy to get out of. In fact, it's scarier to get out of that one, right? Because then the person could actually threaten to or actually kill you or hurt you badly. So people say, you know, I'm not that stupid. I would never get into an abusive relationship because I'm too smart for that. Well, people from all walks of life are in abusive relationships. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter if you're smart. It doesn't matter if you're the top of your class. It doesn't matter if you make $500,000 or $1 million a year. Anyone is subject to abuse. And that is because often we were abused as children and we don't know the difference. So we will find people who remind us of the people who abused us because that's what we know love is, right? We're very comfortable with that. In fact, we'll usually find somebody who's not quite as abusive as the parent was because at least then we know, oh, see, I'm not, you know, loving a person just like my abusive father, but they're still abusive just to a lesser extent or in a different way that is much subtler than the actual abuse you were going through as a child. And the reason that I help people with narcissistic abuse healing is because I don't want you to have to go through it again. I mean, really, what else is the reason? But no, it's because people who are narcissists don't look at themselves as the problem. They don't think that they need to heal or change or do anything differently because they're not the problem, you're the problem, right? They'll project their shame onto you. Children who have been abused often will abuse their own children, right? And the reason they'll do that is because when they're young and they are taught that they are bad children, that becomes their identity. Their shame locks into their body this impression, this imprint of I'm a bad girl or boy. And then they live out that label. They do bad things to friends, to parents, to other family members. Then they do bad things to girlfriends or boyfriends. And they seal the deal, basically. And there's so much shame that's sealing in this impression of I'm a bad person that they can't take accountability for it. Because if they had to own all the bad things they've done to people, that would really be hard. That would be very, very, very difficult. So instead, they project that shame onto their victims, make their victims accountable for their behavior, and then they get to walk away scot-free. And that's unfair to the victim because the victim is often either codependent or an empathic person with a caring heart who's learned how to please and appease and submit, have a fawn reaction to their abuse, and they take it on and they're like, okay, it's my fault. It's my fault. What can I do to make it better? All the while, the victim is losing their self-esteem, their sense of self, and their dignity because they are believing that they're the one who is causing the abuser to abuse them. So, why wouldn't I want everyone to heal from that? It's horrible. It's a horrible life path, right? And people don't know how to get out of it. They don't even know they're in it half the time. And so what I want to help you with is identifying if you're in it or not. You know, when you coach with me, I will call it out and say, this is, okay, you're being gaslighted there. Or there's cognitive dissonance because do you see the confusion with how you're being treated? And it's not to say I'm diagnosing this person as a narcissist. I can't, I won't, I never would. I will identify abuse though. I will say, when somebody acts this way, it's emotionally abusive. That doesn't mean that person's always an emotional abuser. That just means this behavior that he or she's doing, that you've probably done, that I've done, that, you know, most of us have done, is happening in your relationship. Does that make you feel good about yourself or not good about yourself? Oh, it makes me feel like I'm unworthy and like I suck and I'm a loser and I'm a failure and I'm a bad person. Oh, do you like feeling like that in your relationship? No? Okay, then what do you want to do about it? Do you want to heal so you can see if you still want to be with somebody who regards you like that and who doesn't treat you like they love you? Or do you want to stay in that relationship and believe about yourself what they're making you believe about yourself because of their projected shame? Do you want to stay doing that, or do you want to have something else happen? Oh, well, I don't want to be alone. I'm scared. Oh, my finances are all tied up with that person. Oh, we have kids together. What's going to happen to your kids when you show them, which you're doing every single day, that this is love? It's love for you, little boy, to grow up to be an abusive man, or you, little girl, to grow up to be an abusive woman, or you, man, to grow up, little boy, to grow up to be the man who's abused, or you, little girl, to grow up to be the woman who's abused. Do you want to carry that out generationally to the next generation again and again? Do you want to do that, or do you want to stop it right now and leave a situation that's harming you? Because I guarantee it's harming you physically, because there's so much stress in being abused. Okay? When we take away the supply from the narcissistic or emotionally abusive people, they have to heal. I don't know when, I don't know how, because they don't take accountability very well, but I do know that if we aren't giving them the supply anymore or the attention, they're going to have to do something. But we get to run off into the sunset and be happy and in love, either alone or with people who will love us and not abuse us. And isn't that better than being in a relationship that's drowning you, suffocating you, and making you feel like you're in prison and that you're a bad person? When you're not a bad person and you've never been a bad person, and I don't really care if you want to say, well, I am a bad person because I've done X, Y, and Z. Okay, you've made mistakes. That does not solidify that you are a bad person, though. That means, oh, I'm a human being who's made mistakes. Let me see if I can forgive myself for doing that. And also understand what makes a person make mistakes or do bad things to people or live in patterns. Oh, then maybe I can be softer and gentler with myself and actually heal, instead of having this identity formed as I am bad, because that's not true. Okay? That's not true. I don't care how many reasons you give me for saying that you're a bad person. I'm never going to believe that. People do bad things because bad things happen to them, because they didn't know what was going on, because they weren't very conscious, because they are hurt, and hurt people. But once you see that about yourself and the things you've done, you can forgive those things and not do them again if you choose. So then it becomes, I'm not a bad person, which shame says I am. I've done some bad things and I'm not really proud of myself, and I'm guilty. I feel guilty and remorseful, but I can forgive myself and I can do better next time. And see how much easier that is on yourself than I am bad and I'm always going to be bad, so I'm just going to do bad things because I'm bad. You know, like it can change. So I hope that helps you today to understand that narcissistic abuse is running rampant in our world, and you can heal from it. You can heal from what draws you to the people who have those red flags, because when you heal, you start seeing the red flags, and then you can avoid them. Okay. And you can look for the green flags in people instead. Or you can be alone. And guess what? It's okay to be alone. It doesn't feel awesome sometimes, but it can be awesome sometimes too. And I don't think you're going to be alone. You're going to find the right people, but sometimes being alone and healing for a little while and getting back to who you really are helps you so that you can actually find the right friends, the right boss, the right job, the right love interest, the right people in your life. And you can get rid of the ones who are toxic for you because they're hurting you. And you don't deserve that. I know I don't know you specifically, but I promise you, and I might know you specifically, actually. But if I don't know you, I know you're not a bad person. I know you're a good person because that's the truth of who you are. And once you know it, you'll feel good about yourself and you'll make good choices for yourself and you'll love yourself enough to say no to people who want to bring you down into misery because you don't deserve that. No one does. Okay? So if you need some help with that, let me know. bloomingintoyou.com. Find me and I'll help you. Okay? Bye.